If you have a Shopify store and you want to measure exactly what people are doing and how they're doing it, you're going to want to use Google Analytics. It's the industry standard, and you can see here I have a out-of-the-box fresh installation of Shopify, and I am going to show you exactly how to record people's visits on your site. So the first thing you want to do is go to your Shopify admin. You do this by going to shopify.com and then logging in. And my internet is a bit slow, but there we go. So you would go to log in, and you would log in, and it will take you to this page. The next thing you want to do is go to online store, and then there are two different ways, or actually three different ways, that you can install Google Analytics. If you plan to do a lot of measurement and you want to measure specific events on a store like button clicks, element visibility, then right now my preferred way to do this is Google Tag Manager. That's probably the most complicated, at least in the long term. More advanced users probably would do this. So I'm going to start with the easiest technique, which is just to use Shopify's out-of-the-box Google Analytics installation. Then I'll go to the second most difficult, and then we'll go to the most advanced. So option number one, go to your online store preferences here in the left sidebar, and then you're going to want to copy and paste your Google Analytics code here. So let's look at how you get your actual Google Analytics code. So if you don't have Google Analytics yet, you can just Google Analytics, and you have this page, and you can click Start for free. I have like 50 Google Analytics accounts, and so what it does is it brings me to my most recent Google Analytics installation. So regardless, what you're going to want to do is go to this left-hand side admin, or you would just create a new account. And what you want to do is make sure, you see here are all of your accounts. So these are all the brands that you manage. So you want to create a new account for a new brand. So in this case, the name of the shop is SIP Provisions, and I'm just going to call this Shopify Test because I'm going to go ahead and delete this after we're done. So the next thing you do is next. And a lot of people get stuck at this step and they say, oh, apps and webs, what do I do? So what you're going to want to do is web only. Apps is for actual native mobile apps, like what you download on the App Store and put on your phone. And apps and web is still in beta. There's some cool stuff that you can do with that right now. Basically, the idea is that they're moving towards more of a cross-platform, user-based analytics approach. But there's a lot of bugs and stuff going on in apps and web right now. It's still very much in beta that I have yet to hear anyone who has actually used this for any serious data. Mostly the people who are using apps and web right now are just, and this is almost April 2020, but the people using apps and web are kind of just poking around because they do analytics for a living, and they're not actually using it. So pick web, then click next, and you want to name your website. Again, I am calling this SIP Provisions Shopify Test because I'm going to delete it. And you, by default, because you're on Shopify, have HTTPS. So that just means that your website is protected by an SSL certificate. And it means you get that special lock, and you don't get a warning that it says that people are going to an unsafe site. Oh, okay. So it's so sipprovisions.myshopify.com. And that's just because I haven't connected my domain yet, but whatever this is whatever your domain is. You can select industry category, but you don't have to. This is just for baseline measurement against other people in that brand. And then you pick your time zone. This is a big one because for time zone, you obviously don't want to not know when your day ends and begins. So be sure and change that so it's accurate. The next thing you do is very carefully read their terms of service and protection terms like I just did. Hit accept and you will get that special tracking code that we are after. Now, there are a lot of different solutions that will just ask you for this tracking ID. So if you hear tracking ID and you're looking for, a specific number, you can always go into admin, tracking info, and tracking code, and you'll get access to this again. So you click in here, copy, and then go back to your preferences, and there you go. You can paste and hit save. Now, the next thing you want to do is, let's see, so you have your property. The next thing you want to do is refresh your web store page on the front end. Right click on it. Click. Let's see, I just opened up console. So you want to right click and do view page source. So then you click Command F on Mac. I think it's Control F on Windows to find, and you want to look for your tracking ID. So in our case, it's that UI 162, or UA 162. So UA 162, and so we can see here that our Google Analytics tracking code is now inserted in our site. So what that means is that we are successfully tracking visitors to the site. So let's just go to make sure this is working. You'll go back to your real-time report. Let me just close that tab. And you can see now that there is one person on the site, and they are in New York. It's me. So you can see that worked because we have the double check of this Google Analytics here, the real time, as well as it's in our source. If you want to know what's going on here, basically, they have inserted or injected that code into your website so that it's tracked whenever any pages on your site are viewed. So, basically you can see what's going on regardless of what people are doing. Now, that's installation form number 1. The second one, and then, add custom JavaScript. That is if you have any specific additional custom JavaScript. The other option is you can, after you've inserted this code once, you can just enter a different Google Analytics ID. So if you already have an installation and you are looking to start from scratch or something, which I would recommend against, you would just add that. Add that number there, which was under, admin, tracking info, and tracking code, and this there. So you would just copy paste that back in. All right, so that is probably the fastest and most standard way to add your Google Analytics account. Another option is to go actually into your Shopify theme. And again, if you've done that first method, that's all you need to do. You're done. You have Google Analytics. That's probably the most common way to do it. The next most common way to do this would be, to go into your Shopify store, online store, themes, actions, and edit code, and then take that code that we copied and pasted before, and you would actually manually put it in the head of your website. What that means is that, every, let's see here, let me go to, so theme.liquid, that here. So you have your doc type. This is introducing, opening the page, your head, which is all of the information about your page. And then, again, we did that Command F, and you can see where your head tag closes. And right now, because let's see. Okay, yeah, so you can see where head tag closes. Let's go back to that. And what you would do is you would enter, boom, add your tracking script, and then hit save. Now, if you do this, you are only adding the code to your theme file. So what might happen if someone is taking code from another place and they're syncing the website, they might override this, is probably the best way to say this. It means that, if someone else comes in and plays with this code or pushes a different theme.liquid file to your Shopify, you might lose this tracking script. So you have to be a little bit aware of that, I guess. I have another website that I work with, and there's a custom checkout file. So what I have to do if I'm coming in and I'm adding a tracking script to a specific version of the website, I need to do it in both theme.liquid and checkout.liquid, because otherwise the tracking code won't be added to our actual checkout pages. So that's just something to be aware of. Again, if you're just starting out, you want to go with that first setup where you're just adding the code under your Shopify online store preferences, Google Analytics. So the other thing that you can do, if you want, is install Google Analytics with Google Tag Manager. I will add that in another video so that it's easier to separate this out. So again, that's the fastest and easiest way to install Google Analytics with another version of it. So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to helping you on your tracking journey.